iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Jennifer Simard, welcome to iHeartRadio Broadway.
Hello, it's so wonderful to be here. Hello, listeners. Good morning.
So I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say, but this revival of Company is probably my favorite thing I've seen on Broadway in such a long time.
Oh, I think that's the perfect thing to say. Don't listen to that other voice inside. Listen to that voice.
Listen to this one.
I couldn't agree more. Marianne Elliott is a genius, and I'll shout it to the nearest rooftop, the furthest rooftop. It's an honor to be a part of this piece.
And I think as a single woman of a certain age, Company has always been a favorite of mine in the Sondheim canon, but it's so different when it speaks to you in this revival. And I'm curious from your perspective, what it's like being a part, no pun intended, of this company.
Well, it's humbling and it's an honor. You look to your left and you look to your right, and there's always someone just as good as, if not better than you. So it keeps you on your toes. It brings out your best work. And I think everyone would agree with me. Like, we're all bringing our A game, and it challenges you to be responsible in that way. You know, you can't ever, you should never phone it in, but you literally have to always be your very best. And it's an exercise in excellence every single rehearsal and every single performance. And that's across the board. So I love that because I like to have a good work ethic, and I'm really honored to be among people who have been my heroes and heroines. And I feel very humbled to be a part of it.
But even along those lines, what I love about this is, yes, there are huge stars in this show, 100%, but it is truly an ensemble musical. And you all are collectively working so hard together that it really comes across that you are truly such a bonded group of individuals in a group. And that's a testament to, I think, you all as talent, but also Marianne Elliott as a director as well.
I would agree. We are a company. You know, it's not only the title of the show, and we have to work as a team. One of my favorite analogies, since Christopher Sieber and I are the first vignette out of the opening number, is that of a relay race. It's sort of our job to be the opening act, the warm-up act, if this were a big comedy night at Caesar's Palace. And when we leave the stage, I've often joked with the next couple, Greg Hildreth and Rashidra Scott, I'll hold an invisible track and field baton and I'll hand it off to their hands. I'm like, run, you know, and then they'll do the next to the following scene and so forth. And people that I've admired, Christopher Fitzgerald, for example, he has said to me on certain nights where, you know, we're all human beings. Maybe the audience is a little tired. He'll say, you know, we need you, Jen. And, you know, and it just gives me that boost to go out there and try to make people laugh that much more. And then the energy, you know, and the energy builds and we all build upon one another. We really are like a building blocks. And, you know, there is no I in team, and we really depend on one another. No one person, from the bottom to the top can succeed in this show without the teamwork that we've established.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I love is you working off Chris Sieber and Christopher Sieber working off of you. The comedic timing that the two of you have together, but also the honesty that the two of you have together as a couple is so amazing to watch. And to be the couple that kicks off the show has to be not just I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's got to be a sense of responsibility that the two of you have to really kick off the show, besides the opening number, of course.
It is. We're helped by the fact that we've been friends for almost 30 years. I've known Christopher since I was 24 years old, and I'm not 24 anymore. So we do have a bit of a trust and shorthand. And at this point, we kind of joke that we're almost like married people. We, you know, and when we, in quotes, have a fight or disagreement, it's not really. It's more like married people. And we're like, oh yeah. And we're excellent communicators. We are excellent collaborators. And it's I have to give a shout out to him because he really is charged with being the Abbott to my Costello. Of the two of us, I would argue I have the more clownish of the comedy, and I couldn't land those jokes if he weren't so generously setting me up I love sports. So as a sports analogy, he is my Scottie Pippen. He's throwing me that basketball so I can get a slam dunk. And I hope I can do the same for him because he's also hilarious. But it requires discipline and an understanding of the different shades of comedy that we have to bring so that we're working in tandem and not competing with one
Right.
another. How many times have actors done that? And that is not us. We are really working as a unit. And I think that comes off on the
It
stage,
100% does. And it's, to me, the relationship between you and Christopher is just so seamless, where it's like you can tell there's a little twinkle in your eyes when you're on stage together, because you can tell what the other person is about to do, and it doesn't seem fully rehearsed. It seems like it's just coming out naturally, which I love so
Yeah.
much.
We're still finding things.
Yeah.
And we touch base almost every night. It's like, hey, what did you think about that? And I think I do something with a brownie on my exit, for example. And sometimes I do it different ways. And he'll come up to me and he's like, Jennifer, that was really funny. I was actually laughing, like, because we are friends, and it's so nice to have your friend root for you.
Yeah.
And that's across the board, because in my experience, the more you try to control things in life, it's like sand. It just falls right through your fingers, and it's empowering to the other person. And it's actually empowering to you to root for one another and watch the other person grow. And that is not only with our regular 8 times a week cast, but our understudies as well. Like, we
Hmm.
are a team and we're all working hard together.
And speaking of understudies, you
Hmm.
recently went on for Patti while she was dealing with COVID, unfortunately.
Hmm.
How much time did you have before you knew you were going on for Joanne? And what was that first night as Joanne like for you?
Well, I had about 45 minutes notice,
Hmm.
and I was prepared. I am Hermione Granger of of all the Harry Potter characters. So I really believe that uh, hope is not a plan, and you have to do your homework so that when you have short notice, you're doing as much as you can to mitigate the panic that's obviously there and the nerves, right? But that day, what made it particularly special is one of my brothers was in town and he had plans to see me as Sarah and to see company for the first time. He'd never seen it. So I texted him with about 40 minutes to spare and I said, well, change of plans. And to be honest with you, as prepared as I was, I, of course, had human nerves,
Of
right? Of
course.
course you do. That's normal. And the thing that kept me centered through the whole piece was knowing that one of my favorite human beings was out there, and how much, my late mother meant so much to me. And I knew that having my brother out there would really keep me focused and
Hmm.
grounded, and honestly, keep me out of my own way. So much of what we do is a mental game, and you just have to stay cool and also accept the great banana peel of life. I just kept telling myself, if something goes wrong, it's okay. It's just a play, you
But
know?
is there also a sense of a little bit of awe knowing that people came to the theater specifically to see you as Joanne? They lined up at the box office to see you go on. I mean,
Yeah.
is there a sense of
I
awe in that sense?
There is. I didn't expect that. I didn't realize what was going to happen that week. And I tried to stay fairly quiet about it all because I have such enormous respect for my friend and colleague,
Hmm.
Patti, who's been so generous to me. And it's one of the things I said to the company and to her when they asked me to do it. I said, I want to make sure Patti feels safe because I have my role and we're both featured actresses. So uh, I just like to treat it like I'm a ghost when I'm on so that she can, convalesce in peace and know that the show's in good hands, and that I'm happy to fill in, but also really happy to be back as Sarah, a role I've worked really hard on. So
Absolutely.
the fact that the fans came out and did that, it made me feel like someone who's been in this business for 30 years. And to have that sort of love and respect actually just brought a tear to my eye. I'm I'm really touched because it was really unexpected. And I'm really grateful. And I'm grateful for the love that I've seen from people, that you can love more than one person. And it's not about
Hmm.
comparing and any of that nonsense. It seemed to me to be more of a respect for a lifetime in the business. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
really appreciated it.
and I think the fans for Company in particular, yes, there is a love for the original cast, but the love that is there for the understudies and the swings and the
Mhm.
standbys as well, who
Yeah.
are truly the unsung heroes of our Broadway industry right now.
Mhm.
People are coming to see the show multiple times to see the understudies and standbys
Yeah.
go on, and that has to also mean a lot to you all collectively as a company.
Yes, I certainly can't speak for the individuals, the other understudies, but I can speak about them. And I am really happy that I think the collective we are starting to give a recognition that's been long overdue
Hmm.
to how hard it is. And I'm really proud of our particular group of understudies. I'm so happy to be covered by the women that cover me. And Catherine Allison, Brittany Coleman, Paige Foray. They have done a wonderful job. And it makes me feel relieved to know that the show is in good hands when I'm out. I have a print in my dressing room that says, let's root for each other and watch each other grow. I referred to it earlier. And I really believe that. Um, and it doesn't do you any good to be like, hold on to something really tight. The more you just go, yeah, it's good for them. It's good for you. It's good for
Absolutely.
everyone, you know? So, yeah.
And And I think you all as a cast have also gone through so much in the course of,
Yeah.
you had your short time of previews before the shutdown happened, then you had the 2 years of the shutdown, and then obviously with Sondheim passing, going right into opening. You guys have gone through quite a lot in the last 2.5 years.
Mhm.
And I'm curious as a company what it's like to have that type of bond together. Because I feel like you all are some of the closest cast members currently in a
Mhm.
show. You all root for each other, you're collectively together. I'm just curious what that bond means to you as a cast member.
Well, it's funny. I think while it means a lot now, I actually think it's going to mean more in our rear view mirror. This will forever be our pandemic show.
Hmm.
This is historical. It's quite an honor to even be in a Broadway show with the challenge of having to survive this pandemic. You know, a lot of people, a lot of young students who maybe hoped to move to New York City never did, and maybe never will now. That's a tragedy.
Yeah.
A lot of people had to move. For some people, maybe the transition is a good thing. It maybe gave them the impetus to do something they'd wanted to do for a long time. But as far as our show, it has been one hurdle after another. I'm sure other shows can say the same thing. I can only speak for mine from my perspective. But every show should be as lucky to be helmed by Chris Harper and Marianne Elliott. I don't know what we would do if we didn't have their kind of leadership, both
Hmm.
from a business perspective, but more from a human perspective. They have always led with the face of humanity. And I don't just mean the obvious, I also mean the emotions that I'm a very emotional person. It's part of my job, right? So they've really seemed to just open up their arms to all of it, whatever process you need to go through in figuring this all out. They've made room for it, they've made space for it. And that from the top comes down to everyone else. And I think that's one reason why our company is so strong, because it starts here.
Yeah.
So thanks to them. Mhm.
And besides Company, are we going to see more episodes of your podcast with Jessica Vosk?
We keep trading text messages and talking about it. So stay tuned. TBD. We're both very busy women,
Yep.
successful women in so many different elements of our career. So getting the two of us together is like trying to get a peace treaty signed in Versailles. So, but I thank you for asking. It was really, I will say this, what a wonderful experience we had to at least get us through the pandemic. I'm so glad we did it.
It was
And you
one of
can
the
listen to
most,
yeah,
you
sorry.
can listen to it still. All the episodes
Yeah,
are online and however you listen to your
yeah.
podcast. But it was just one of the most fun podcasts to listen to because while you're
Thank you.
interviewing Broadway celebrities, it's just the premise around it, go find the podcast. It's absolutely hysterical. So I implore
Yes.
you all to go listen to the
Yes.
podcast.
Killing it on Broadway.
It's so good. Um, what do you hope for the future of Broadway as we kind of wind down this season, as we move towards the Tony Award nominations and all that? What's your hope for the future?
Well, I've always believed art is a way to comment in the microcosm of what's going on in the world in the macrocosm. And there's some really horrific things going on in our world, right?
Yep.
I'm just gonna let you all fill in the gaps. You know what they are. It keeps me up at night. So I'm hoping for continued progress in all the positive strides we've made. Let's keep going. Let's do more. And let's hope we have a world of peace where artists continue to be uplifted and allowed to create and to give human beings an outlet for the truth. And
absolutely.
I hope to be a part of that. I hope there's room for me. I'm really proud to be an artist, and I'm really grateful and lucky to be part of this community.
Well, we're lucky to have you on Broadway. Company is currently playing on Broadway. Jennifer, like I said, Company is probably my favorite thing I've seen in a really long time. And this company, this cast is gorgeous and so talented. And we're blessed to have you all on Broadway. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks for having me.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.